do it. As long as you're willing to stand up with me, I will do it.
Isn't the out-of-state money thing kind of overplayed though? I mean, it's the RNC, when you're getting money from the RNC, I don't care what candidate you are, whether it's Mia Love or anybody else, they're getting money from the RNC, and that's coming from out of state. I mean, if they're getting a big donor, those days are kind of past now. I mean, what can a person get? 25,000 or something like that, the max on the
It's 2,500.
2,500 bucks. So the out-of-state money is kind of a different ballgame than it used to be years ago.
Well, the other side of the question is that not just the kids most of this money from the state, the kids on 14%.
Here's the thing.
Almost all.
We as Republicans, we cannot, again, we can talk about out-of-state money, we can talk here, when it comes to convention, when it comes to this process, that's what's so great about our electoral process, is that you get to decide who goes up, who your nominee is. You get, and they don't come in before that, especially when you've got a new seat. They don't come in before that. You have to understand the incumbents already have that support. Matheson's already going to have a lot of that support, right? So we've got to make sure you know that the person that you put up is your nominee. And we've got to rally behind that. And we've got to stop being divisive as Americans. You know, we've got to start working on if we're going to get together as conservatives and as Americans, we've got to get under the same umbrella and start looking at some of the things that we need to work on. Too many times you've got people in Congress doing this, and the work of the people is not getting done. We've got to be able to say, hey, these are the things that are important to us, and this is what we're going to work on. We're going to start getting our fiscal house in order. We're going to start getting government to be limited. We're going to start getting people back on their feet so that they're not so. There's the lady back here.
In other settings such as this, I have heard that this candidate is being supported by this huge national group and this group and this group and blah blah blah. And yet you've just said too that really the money's not going to start coming in until after the convention. One of the things that I was told that in previous years, some of that money that should have gone to a Republican candidate was withdrawn when the candidate they didn't want was the one who was nominated, and bam, Jim Matheson was in again. I mean, can you see yourself maintaining support or
I see
getting
myself
support
gaining more support
away from the other candidates?
I see myself gaining more support than any of the other candidates. I see myself gaining more support than any of the candidates. Yes, I do. And by the way, I have been endorsed. But there are some groups that have endorsed me. I'm just not putting them out there because I don't believe it makes a difference to the delegates here. I think what makes a difference is what you can do, first of all, what you can do in Washington and what you can do to be Matheson.
I listened to the Sutherland Institute thing, and I listened to all four of you make your statements about various things, and I went, holy cow, these guys are all the same. I mean, obviously you're saying what I want to hear, but
there's some subtle differences in there.
There were some subtle differences, term limits and all that sort of couple of things there. But I guess, and I'm sorry I caught Candlelight, but I guess I want to know, where you differ from politically.
We did talk about that a little bit.
Then don't go back.
No, it's okay. I'm okay reiterating that, right? We talked about the difference between the House and the Senate,
yeah,
and where my experiences are suited for the House. We talked about the fact that all of these guys, remember the first difference, we all believe we can make a difference, but the first difference we must make is beat Jim Matheson.
Right.
You're putting up the same people up against Jim Matheson. There's no difference there. When you talk about, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, this is the thing that to me is a little, I don't know, it just seems like there's just almost no way to get over it. You go back there, you're in the midst of 400 plus, and and you hear some of the candidates say, well, I'm going to go back and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do, well, the reality of it is by themselves they can't. So what kind of a process? Where do you start? What are the things that you do as far as the things you don't understand? Where do you start to start creating this change? Because your vote isn't the only one that counts.
No.
You know, and you've got, some way or another, there's got to be a way to get people looking at the problem, get rid of worrying about their own little special interests, and to make this broad. What's the process?
That's help. Is there like an issue board you write up, everybody that has that concern, issue, you put your name on it? Everyone comes together?
No, here's what you do. There's
Well,
some
what I'm saying,
processes.
I know that
Most
that
people go into Washington and they're freshmen and they're pretty much kicked to the curb. They have to wait their turn. It's harder for them to get into, to get into being, making a difference, right?
Right.
Now, remember I said Saratoga Springs doesn't have the highest bond rating because I'm black or female. That didn't happen. But there's never been anybody like me before in the U.S. House before. There's going to be some attention paid to that. I know that. I know that. I don't really care about that except to actually get stuff done. That's the only thing I care about, to actually get things done. But you have to have some people that are with you. And again, I haven't publicized this all, but I've got the backing of people like Eric Cantor, who's the House Majority Leadership. I've got the backing of Paul Ryan, who's the youngest chairman for the Budget House Committee. I've got the backing of Kevin McCarthy, who is the Majority Whip in the House. The Deputy Majority Whip, Peter Roswell. I have a better chance of getting things done than any other freshman in the district. I would say in any of the districts.
Okay, that's what I was asking. That's what I wanted to hear, because you're not just a person walking in.
I'm not.
You're doing groundwork, Dennis, what you're telling us.
Absolutely.
You're already in the process.
They've already helped out with the campaign. They're doing everything they can to help out because they're saying we need your help.
Would you state again those three things that you said you'd fallen short for?
Fiscal discipline, limited government, personal responsibility. Those are the things that I'm focused on.
Now, a lot of us have, or at least I do, have a little pet issue that I always keep in my back pocket. and
Everybody good.
I'm a gun nut. And just recently, the National Reciprocity Act was going, I think it's already passed the House. How would you vote on that?
Let me just say this. Having the right to own a firearm is a God-given right. It's a right that you had before the Constitution was written, because it's your right. See, those are your protecting your unalienable rights. Your life, your liberty, your pursuit of happiness. So in terms of laws, I mean, how would I don't really like laws, because it's almost like saying, hey, we're actually giving you permission to do this. It's all right to do it. It's all right to bear arms. And I happen to have my own concealed carry permit, and I carry because it's my right.
What's your deficit reduction plan? Can you enumerate on that a little bit?
Yes, actually, we'll be getting a mailer out to you guys soon, but I can tell you a lot of the things that are on it. First of all, we've got to get entitlements on the table. Now, don't freak out. This is what the liberals do. They get us all to freak out. Remember Paul Ryan throwing the senior citizen over the table. We don't have to reinvent the wheel here. There are things that we can do to Social Security to make it sustainable. It's $6.5 trillion in the hole. It's in deficit spending right now. Okay? We can do several things. Obviously, all of us agree, extend increase the age of retirement, adjust the bend points that they have on how they collect Social Security. Instead of taking the 35 highest wages, you take the 40 years of highest wages, none of which, decreasing the cost of living, none of which affects anybody that is on Social Security right now, because they don't have the choice to go back to work and put money into their retirement. They put money into Social Security, and our federal government was reckless in the way that they use those funds.
We don't have any time to react.
There's no time to react. But eventually, I'd like to see my children be able to put money in their own retirement of their own choosing. I'd like to see that happen. But we've got to make sure that we do not pull the rug out from those who are on Social Security today. Again, it's not reinventing the wheel here. There are things that it's just having enough guts to put them on the table and risk your PR. I don't care about that. I care about results. I care about what's effective.
Is there an age?
So they'll probably have me in a commercial doing something, doing something.
I just wanted to say,
Just telling you now. I'm sure you're gonna see some, they're trying to grab commercial material now. That's what they're trying to do. That's okay, I'm trying to convert him, right, Kevin? I'm trying to convert him.
Is there an age at which you would say nobody's social security gets touched? I mean, if you're not on it now, I'm 61 years old. I've been
No, there
paying
are
for
those
money.
that are just going into retirement also. So what we're doing, what we've looked at, there are some ages that they said anybody who was up to about born in the 50s to the 60s, you know, we wouldn't affect anybody, you know, after that. There are different things that you can play with. There are different things that you can do. But the idea is to make sure that those really, to be honest with you, I don't know how many. I'm not planning on receiving Social Security. Let's just say it's that bad. It's completely unsustainable. I'm not planning on it. We've got to do something about it. So we're looking at some of the ages there and seeing how many people have time to actually react. Some of the left, what they're trying to do is say, you know, maybe a way that we can fix it is instead of taking 106, instead of, you know how you only collect, they only tax you on about 106,000, anything above that, they don't tax you. Well, they want to remove the cap. To me, it's a new tax. I prefer to look at more of a means tested program in the meantime to say, okay, anybody who maybe makes, I'm throwing the number out there, maybe makes $200,000, maybe they don't collect 100% of their Social Security benefits. I'd rather do that than to add a tax, another tax.
That, talking about Social Security, and then also going back to the whole flat tax, how do those two mesh?
Social Security and the hope of a flat tax. Again, eventually, remember we have a flat tax, we can't just get there now. Anybody who says, yeah, we're going to just go ahead and do that, and they're sending message bills and it's not going to stick. There's got to be a process that you get to, and that process is not going to a flat tax right now. You cannot go into a flat tax.
I guess my point of getting at, so let's say we get to the flat tax, how long it takes, what does Social Security look like at that point?
Hopefully at that point, we get to a place where we say we're going into privatizing Social Security or getting away so that you can choose, your children can choose what type of retirement that they'd like to have.
I don't know if I'm getting out there. How does Social Security then collect at that point? Because I know a lot of people are, when they talk about flat tax, it's sometimes even getting rid of income tax altogether. So
It's still going to be in the
yeah, would it still come through your business? Would there be some other mechanism?
And those are the plans that we have to look at. Right now, there are several problems with Social Security. It's not just that we have